Hello everyone, I'm Katie from the Lorekeepers Inn, and I am going to be showing you the main stage that myself and R&B had the pleasure of being guests on today. It was on the Disney Lorcana Discord, and it featured the game development team. So it had Steve Warner, Levi, and Etienne, and then also Rochelle was there to help kind of guide us along, and she's just great to have as an emotional support, Rochelle, as always. So it was wonderful and great, and I'll stop talking and let you guys watch it, but it was a great honor, and I hope you enjoyed it. Comment below and let me know what you think, and otherwise, let's go ahead and get into the video.
And with that, welcome to the Reign of Jafar game dev main stage. If you have not joined one of these before, I'm Rochelle Brady, Global Community Engagement Manager. My role is setting up fun stuff like this for you all to interact with the team and enjoy the game and stuff like that. And today, we have from Game Design and Development, Steve Warner, who I'm sure most of you know, head of game design and development at the Ravensburger team for Disney Lorcana. Levi, uh, who is one of the game designers on the team, and Etienne, who is lead game developer. And from the community, Katie from the Lorekeepers Inn, and Ryan, also known as RMB on Team Maelstrom. So,
Hello.
I know a lot of you in the community know these two. Just really wanted to pull them in because Katie doing so much of that commentary lately and keeping up with all this gameplay, thought you would be great to have here. And Ryan, uh, you placed so high at the North America Championship. Uh, you clearly know your stuff.
I appreciate it so much. Just having the opportunity to be here and talk with the brains behind this game is that's like I'm like a kid in a candy store and I have a pocket full of nickels right now.
Which might get you one candy
So,
these days, unfortunately.
Okay, so a pocket full of nickels in a candy store in like the early
There
90s.
we
All
go.
right.
so one of the first things that we wanted to talk about today is, Duel Link cards were first introduced last set in Arcadia's Island, but with Reign of Jafar, it really feels like they've been kind of kicked up a notch, where these themes on the cards are expanded more, and asked for you guys to share some of your picks for just kind of explaining some of those themes.
Yeah, so I can touch on these a bit. Reign of Jafar was a really cool set to work on, using a lot of the dueling themes that were really popular in Arcasia's Island. Um, and so we were able to really look at like, okay, these are cool themes that we've made. How can we further them? How can we progress that? And so on the screen, Wreck-It Ralph, Big Lug, one of my favorites, a really great card for the Racer deck. So far, before we saw King Candy be a piece that asks when your racers are banished, you can make your opponent banish a character of theirs. And that's pretty nice, but at the end of the day, you're going to run out of racers. Where do you get the card advantage from? And so we looked at that and said, okay, how does Ruby and Amber get that card advantage? And so like, okay, Wreck-It Ralph can add back the racers that you had banished before, and he's a great card. I love him. I'll let Steve maybe talk about one of these too.
I mean, I think for me, Perdita was one of the more fun ones. Um, we were trying to find what would be a good Amber Sapphire strategy for all of these puppies and where all of these puppies can go, and being able to sort of get them back. And in the same vein as Wreck-It Ralph and Card Advantage, what's the way that you can do that? So Perdita and Pongo teaming up to be able to get all of the puppies into the inkwell and then get all the puppies back into play was kind of a fun progression of that deck. Levi, you want to take the last one?
Yep. I had a really fun time as we were trying to come up with the different dual ink themes and deciding like how the different ink colors interact. I think Emerald and Steel actually was one of the like best like pairs and fits because it just makes so much sense when Emerald cards love opposing damaged characters and Steel's so good at getting your opponent's characters to be damaged. So it fits like, so well together that I think designing these Emerald Steel cards that work together so well just felt really good. And so things like being able to take the Captain Hook and, he's already got great shift bases that are cards people are already playing, like all the way back in set one, and be able to make like a cool dual link shift Captain Hook to take advantage of it was just a really good time. Make your whole board strong and capitalize on this whole pirate theme to go with them too.
And that's been something I've really liked to see, is that the dual colors have gotten some like kind of flavor within it. Was that something that naturally occurred, where you're just like, well, I guess we have some amber and ruby racers, and this is a good racer combination? Or how did that kind of synergy evolve for each of these three different cards on the screen?
Yeah, I spoke on this a little bit with set 7, in that we originally were pairing things up, and we created the set, uh, and we tried it out a bit, and we were kind of unhappy with how it was playing. It was playing it played just fine, but it wasn't fun. And that bothered us a lot with these color pairs, of where we were just picking a couple cards to add to our already existing decks. And the team and I decided that we were just going to blow everything up. We took set 7 all the way back down to 0, and we created from the ground up how we wanted each color pair to kind of play out, and the theme that they would have, and the franchise that they would be. And we worked on that. And set 8 gave us a great opportunity to expand on that idea and give them more tools for those decks, and provide sort of that runway that you need to be able to build these decks with some versatility in mind as well.
So you brought up a really good point there, Steve. So with the dual inks, like I'm starting to personally see that it looks like specific franchisers are being associated with specific dual ink color pairings, and I'm assuming that that's intentional. Obviously Wreck-It Ralph being predominantly the amber ruby. It looks like Aladdin is the sapphire steel potentially, and Beauty and the Beast being ruby sapphire. Can you kind of share with us, what are some of the other franchises you expect to see, and what they're combining color pairing? What are they?
Well, so Emerald Steel was pirates in general. The Amber Steel was more Bolt.
Mm.
So, and it's focused on protecting, bodyguards, keeping damage off your characters, that sort of thing. Emerald is a very popular one with Lady and the Tramp, and obviously being a very quick to lure deck. We have Amethyst, Amber, I believe, with the Madrigals and their songs. They definitely like to sing. There's Amethyst, Ruby, that are sort of the villains, and kind of taking their frustration out on their henchmen. Let's see. We have Emerald Ruby, which is about having damage on the opposing characters, mostly focusing on Alice in Wonderland there. Big Hero 6 is Emerald Sapphire. They're mostly focused on the Floodborn, shifting your characters. So, and there's a few others, but I mean, those are the majority. Obviously, Amethyst Steel being Jafar and his illusions.
And I mean, this leads to a question that I had that I wanted to ask today about how, can you describe more about the process of like, how do you match these characters to their abilities? And do you ever design an ability with a character in mind, or is it you have the abilities, and then it's kind of like a Cosmo quiz where you're like, this goes with this one? What does that look like?
So there are two modes of design. There's a top-down and a bottom-up. And top-down is where you know what character you're going to have. So, for example, it would be, we know we're going to have Perdita. We know that she's going to be Amber Sapphire. What are some good abilities that we can use that fits this character and works within the colors that we have? A bottom-up mechanic would be something like, we'll go all the way back to Fire the Cannons because it's an easy example. Fire the Cannons is just an action that deals 2 damage. We know that we need an ability like that in the game. And so we would create the ability first, and we have a team, and actually Levi is part of that team, that of people that go through and theme the cards, and it helps them kind of come up with like the name of the character and the ability name, sometimes before, sometimes after. It just depends on what we need for the set at the time.
Makes sense.
And both approaches can create some really cool, really fun, playable designs. Sometimes you make an ability specifically based around the idea that I want to make a really exciting version of Captain Hook, and he needs to be doing cool things that make the whole team of pirates get stronger. And that's where you come up with a cool ability based around that. But other times you can come up with a really cool ability, and after you've come up with that ability, be like, oh my gosh, this ability screams this character, and just end up lining it up in a really cool, perfect way. So
Yeah, was dump truck bottom up or top down? Did somebody say I have to design for dump truck? Which way did that go?
I'm pretty sure he's a bottom up.
Okay.
Needed the ability, and James is one of the main people that handles themes. I'm sure he went through and there was definitely some requirements for the card, but I'm sure he found the character for it.
So if dump truck was a
one of the things that you guys were talking about was how a lot of the Dual Ink cards are mostly within the same franchise, but there are exceptions. And so we're going to touch on some card reveals in Dual Links that you haven't seen yet that are exceptions.
I'm excited.
Oh,
That's nice. I haven't even read it yet.
So Jeweled Collar is really pretty. We have a lot of Aristocats fan in the office. So I want to touch on it real quick. So it's a Emerald Sapphire Dual Link item, and it says whenever one of your characters is challenged, you may put the top card of your deck into your inkwell face down and exerted. I'm a super big fan of this card. I really love it with cards like Cursed Merfolk, these early characters that want a quest and your opponent really wants to get rid of them, but oh no, there's downside, right? You have to discard a card or something like that. And Jeweled Collar ramps that downside up to 11, right? Now they're going to have to discard a card and you get the top card of your deck into your inkwell, so you could just spam out more little characters, or maybe even you play bigger characters, something like a Clarabelle, where, you know, with Jeweled Collar getting you all this ink, you don't have to worry about inking so much from your hand.
Yeah, and I think that's very fun seeing, I know this is loving called Bleen. I don't know if you guys cringe when you hear what people have called the ink combinations in the community, but it is exciting to see more gas to this deck because it's definitely emerging. It's creeping up, and something like this, like you said, it's going to be some gas on some of those later game things that are harder to pull off because it's got some pretty expensive cards later. But R&B, I see you shaking with excitement here.
I'm so excited for this card. So, like, first of all, I get frustrated when I hear the word Bleen. Like, that's one of those words that kind of makes my skin crawl. I'm still going to refer to this color pairing as Baja Blast because, like, that's just it's always going to be that for me. But man, this card is crazy good, especially with. So this is making me want to play 1-drops that much more. I really want to curve out, go 1-drop, go Jeweled Collar, and say, Are you going to answer my Curse Merfolk? Because if you are, then I'm going to start getting to some bigger cards a lot sooner. Like, this is, yes, you're making me want to play. Yes, I want to play this color pairing so bad now.
Tipo now extra annoying. He's ramping, and then he's like, and now when you strike me down, I shall ramp harder. So Tipo haters out there, sorry, but he's just getting better.
And then we have another one that's kind of off franchise for an ink pairing.
Oh. Ooh.
Whoa.
Do you want someone to read? Is one of you guys going to read? Because this is spicy.
I want to read it. I want to read it. This is every. Woosah. Okay. 4-cost inkable Sapphire Steel dual ink card. Arthur, Determined Squire, comes in with 6 strength, 6 willpower, quest for 3, does have the ability no more books. Skip your turn's draw step. So, like, first of all, is this just the biggest statted body we've ever seen on turn 4?
Oh, turn 4.
Like, I think this is
pretty sure.
Gustav might be like
this is crazy,
but he doesn't. Yeah, or not. Yeah, Gustav is he on the side? But yeah, no, this is a big boy.
Yeah.
And
This is a chunky.
And it admits that he cannot read, which is part of the movie. So I really like that part, that he's like, listen, I don't know how, but I know how to do this. And he has a sword, his new sword. And yeah, what about, so I mean, obviously sometimes you do build in, like, with all magic comes with a price kind of situation. So in this case, obviously you're skipping your turn's draw step, as long as he's in play, I'm assuming. So kind of explain how you weave that in there and make that decision of a downside with something so big like a giant body.
Well, the downside is what allows us to do the higher stats. In this case, there's the exciting part to this card for us is your opponent may choose to actually let you keep it in play because they want you to suffer that downside, and so it creates a different effect inside the game while you're playing. And we love those sorts of cards that can kind of change up what your strategy and what your plan is at the drop of a card.
Yeah, and I mean, you have to throw a lot of things at him. I mean, a simple Zeus will not do on this man. So it's something where it's going to be a tempo card for sure, because like you said, you have to make that choice. I mean, they're not drawing cards, but I have to throw a lot of stuff into this, and it's not going to survive many challenges. So very, very cool from a mid-range kind of point.
Then again, if he gets stuck a whole bunch, then he's not going to be doing a whole lot.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's always my favorite card, World's Greatest Criminal Mind. Favorite coupon of, like, big guy, not afraid. So that, for now, that's one of my favorite antidotes to these giants get big bads. Or he's not big.
If Arthur had read a few more books, he wouldn't be able to get targeted by the criminal mind.
Yeah, dang it. Next movie, the sequel.
I mean, it's really high risk, really high reward, though, too, because there's so many cards that exist in this color pairing that either allows you to search for other cards, or, you know, manipulate the top of your deck to look for more cards, or just draw more cards. I'm playing it. Yeah, you know, I'm trying to like branch out and play other color pairings other than Sapphire Steel, and then you guys go ahead and you give me the best 4-drop I've ever seen, and now I'm just forever gonna be Sapphire Steel guy.
Oh, I definitely love all those reactions to when we show cards like that, and people go, "Whoa, I can't wait to build maybe a deck that I'm familiar with, but in a new angle." And I think that's always great to see.
Exactly.
So there's been more reactions from the community. Some have questioned why cards were designed the way they were, or how you use them. And some did have that reaction when we revealed them of, "I can't wait to put this in my deck." So we're going to go through some of these, take a break from card reveals for a little bit, and talk about some of those cards that the community's had reactions to. And we're starting off with Stitch Experiment 626. This one has been something that we've seen a lot of, just questioning, what kind of deck do you put this in? So we're hoping that you guys could give some insights on, like, how you think you would play with this card.
Oh, sorry, Levi. Go ahead.
All right, I'll take it. Yeah, I think one of the cool things about the Stitch is kind of the inevitability aspect of him that we're really going with. Stitch is a character that, you know, in the movie, it's like you can't get rid of him. He sticks around no matter what you do because he's invincible, basically. And so we kind of tried to make a Stitch here who is eternal. He sticks around forever. So it kind of pairs together really well with the Lilo, who also has an effect that lets her come back every single turn. And then with the two of them together, you can kind of get this approach in an Amber Sapphire deck where you're just putting out an inevitable onslaught of characters. You're just continuously playing characters every turn. No matter what your opponent does, you can continuously have a character to play basically every single turn. So I'm a big fan of those types of, like, you know, inevitable swarm the characters type of decks, and that's the type of place where I really, you know, would enjoy cards like Stitch.
Yeah, and
another deck I've enjoyed him in is oops, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you finish. You're the important one here.
Sure. We're all important. I was gonna say I've really enjoyed him in a Sapphire Steel deck where you play the 1-cost Mulan and the 1-cost Simba that draw your card and discard a card, and you get the Stitch in your discard pretty early on, but you don't want to use him right away, right? You want to play a standard, you know, speedy Sapphire Steel deck, you know, playing like Alice and things like that. And when it comes to that late point in the game where your opponent is, you know, maybe they're tap decking, they have low cards in hand, the downside of your opponent getting ink doesn't really matter. They're not really pressuring you that much, but you still have this repeatable threat that comes out every turn. So that's definitely where I like him the most.
Yeah, I like the fact that specifically you called out playing him with both the 1-drop Mulan and the 1-drop Simba, where like when you're in that top deck mode where you're top decking, your opponent's top decking, if I'm top decking, this 1-drop 1/2 or 2/1 that only quests for 1, it's not really applying a ton of pressure on the board. Being able to convert that into a 3/3 that quests for 2, granted, it does come into play exerted and gives my opponent the opportunity to interact with it. I still would, being able to trade up your 1-drops into this body, at some point your opponent's just not going to be able to answer it. So like I do see the benefit to it now.
It's definitely interesting too that it takes place before your draw. I think that's been one of the more interesting mechanics is, yes, you have your discard as now this like third hand where it's like, well, okay, you can play things from here, but you have to make that like internal gamble. And when you're in top deck mode, you're like, I don't know, this could be the card I need, but this is nice. So I think it's very cool that you do have to make these decisions and it can change how you play the game. But with a side note of, I am very sad that we use Persistent Present on Lilo because I feel like Hey, because Lilo Persistent Present, Stitch Persistent Present, that would have been good here too. But Hey got it, which is fair. He earned it. But that was one thing I always thought when I played Lilo is I'm like, she's back. And now Stitch is back too.
I do have a design question on how it. Oh, go ahead, Steve.
I was just gonna say, ever since we made so many Stitches, I haven't been able to find a left shoe ever again.
He does. Yeah, it's a problem. Yeah. The chaos.
I'm curious, and this may be more of like a judge question, but who better than the designers to really ask? I want to know about a specific interaction. So like obviously Lilo and Stitch. If I wanted to put this in my, Amber Sapphire deck, like I feel like the 2-drop Lilo is the perfect card to leverage the Stitch. So like I'm envisioning this world where I have Stitch in my discard pile. It's the beginning of my turn. I have a Lilo in hand. Because of the way that the bag works and you get to put triggers into the bag and pull them out of the bag as you see fit, can I discard the Lilo to the Stitch to play him for free and then also trigger the Lilo to pay 2 to put it into play exerted all at the beginning of my turn?
Yeah, at the start of your turn, though, since Lilo's not in your discard at the time, that effect does not trigger, and therefore you wouldn't be able to play her until the next turn.
Yeah,
now you need more Lilos. You need more Lilos. We gotta up our Lilo number.
More Lilos.
But man, that would have been a spicy interaction.
Lilo and Stitch.
I mean, I still want to pitch a Lilo to bring Stitch in. Like that's just
pitch a Lilo.
Dramatic.
That sounds
still very useful.
Yes.
So some other cards that have shown up in Reign of Jafar, they're still having this discard and draw type of effect. There were questions that came up of like, well, Steel already has a bunch of this. Why are there more cards that are this? And I want to let you guys speak to it. I have my own opinions, but I'm gonna mute my microphone for now.
I think the simplest answer is simply there's different tools for different people and different playstyles. Everyone has access to a whole new world, but I may not want to give my opponent that many cards. And so Desperate Plan can be my option for running a quick aggressive deck that will just get me some cards later. Beyond the Horizon actually provides kind of an interesting counter to decks that like to draw lots of cards, because the choosing which players get hit by it doesn't have to be you or your teammates. It can be all of the opponents, some of the opponents. It doesn't need to be just you. It could even not be you at all. So there's a lot of option with that one.
Yeah, another thing to touch on is sometimes, like we said, cards do have similar effects, but there's minute differences that determine sort of how they play. For instance, Desperate Plan between Whole New World and Beyond the Horizon is the only non-song action. So you could play it with the Emerald Steel Pirates that call out non-song actions and use that as a sort of refill tool to get, another way to trigger like the Mr. Shmee from Arcasia's Island and just refill your hand.
Also a good option if you're worried about Ursula coming out and taking your songs away.
She does that. Now, this is something that brings up a question that I had. We have not seen Sing Together since set 4, and that's when we were all teaming up to take down Ursula. So, is Sing Together something like was the choice to bring it back in this because we're all trying to work together on Jafar, or is there something there? Am I onto something, or is that just a happenstance?
It was brought back because of the Illuminator's quest. We really enjoy the fact that you get to work with your teammates and benefit from having teammates for these effects, and so we really like this mechanic when you have a cooperative experience to consider as well.
And that might have jumped ahead. I'm sorry, Michelle. I realized, I'm like, oh no. But it's something I noticed. Like, wait a minute. We were trying to fight somebody and we're doing it again.
We'll talk more about Illuminator's quest in a little bit. So this other good dog has gotten a huge reaction.
I mean, one of the reactions is, you guys like Churnadogs too? Because I think we're catching on to something here. That you guys might be Churnadog players.
Right, we all know Ryan. We all know Ryan loves Sword in the Stone. Who's the lady in the tramp?
All right, Levi is and the Churnadog. Well, maybe was the Churnabot. Okay, we know dog. Okay, well, never mind. We'll talk about the card, but I'm also just so curious. Like, did somebody add the Churnabog to the Churnadog, and you're like, well, that was good, or it's like, was that all along? But either way, this card on itself, whenever one of your characters is banished, you may draw a card on your opponent's turn. So Rochelle, what kind of questions people have on that? Because I don't have questions. I get it. Uh-oh.
Oh, that's what more just people's reaction to it.
Oh, just being excited?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because, yes, it is very exciting.
I guess my question is why? Why does it have so many willpowers? I'm over here with my fire the cannons and my babooms, and I'm like, how am I ever supposed to get through this tramp? How?
Well, you see, all you have to do is just like the card says, play it cool.
Yeah.
Play it cool.
Play it cool. Look how confident he is with his little ascot. That is a confident doggy and a good dog, I will say. But yeah, it is this. Oh, it's so tintillating as a fan of Churnadogs. There's so much synergy between Tramp and Lady plus Tramp. And now, as we know, when you play those cute little puppies, people banish them for reasons I don't understand. I think they're perfect angels. But now it is nice making them do that math here of saying, hey, you can do that, but I'm going to draw a card. And as we know, the card draw engine in that deck can be hard. You're kind of like, I got Rapunzel. And that's hard because it's hard to have a body that holds damage. Although, 2/8, that'd be pretty nice to get some Rapunzel. They call them Rapunzel traps. That's not fair. It's Rapunzel opportunities.
Positive spins.
Yes, it's a Rapunzel opportunity. Give her a chance.
So
I am going to...
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
This one...
I was going to...
talked about. I can go back if you have another question about Tramp.
I did really, really quick. Just because I just want some clarification. Okay. I'm like a rules guy. Really want to understand. If I have Tramp in play and my opponent be prepared, I get to draw for all of my other ones too. Okay, Indeed. So just like Lyle.
Yep.
That's such a good card. Huge fan. Continue. Sorry.
Antonio.
So this is like one of the more solid search abilities in the game.
Yes. Yeah, and I had a question about it because, I mean, we've seen it gently. We saw like that Alma that's like, you can find a magical. We've seen Merlin where it's like, okay, if you shift and you have a jillion ink, you can do it. But this is a 4 cost, and there's still a little caveat. It's 3 costs or less, but this is the most generous of searching cards that we've seen yet. So kind of, can you explain why and how you guys decide when we're ready for stronger cards like this that allow you to go through your deck to find specific answers?
Tutoring is a very dangerous mechanic, I'll say, because
yes.
As you said, it creates kind of this way of creating a toolbox within your deck of being able to go find the answer that I need and using that all the time. And so it increases the consistency of your deck a lot of the times. So with the previous versions, we've of course made sure that they're challenging to get off or otherwise have very strict limitations. And same with this one. It has a very strict limitation of how you get it off, and what you search for are actually different things. So you can't chain them together. And we're always going to be very careful with effects that tutor from the perspective of they make great for consistent decks, but it also creates a little bit of fiddliness inside of a match, and so it can kind of bog down a game with a player having to search through their entire deck and kind of decide based off of the board state what they want to get. So it's a long way of saying we are always going to be very cautious about our tutors.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially people will talk about when are we going to get a sideboard? And when you hear tutor and sideboard, it's like, they're like, you must be talking about a different game. But I think one of the things that makes it very different than other games is that you have 60 cards and all of them are playable to a certain extent. So I do think it makes sense that you'd be measured on it because, yeah, I mean, you have 60 answers inside your deck potentially. And yeah, you can splash in one tiny card and be like, I'll go get that one answer that I put in there for this exact situation. So it does make sense in this game, to me at least.
Yeah, I always wondered when we were going to kind of get some of these like more look through your library style cards or shuffle effect cards. I know that, I've been playing TCGs a really, really long time. And, one of the biggest complaints that people have is, the shuffling constantly of your deck can kind of cause games to go to time. So how did the design team, I'm assuming that you guys probably don't want to put too many of the cards, in any given format that you could stack up on and just lead to these instances where players are shuffling their deck for 20 minutes out of their 50-minute round. So I mean, what's the threshold? Have you guys found like a happy medium for these types of effects in any given format?
It's completely dependent on what exists in the format. So it's not something that has a very rigid number. It's sort of a matter of feel inside the game. So yeah, I couldn't give you a very specific answer on that because I don't think it exists. It'll continuously change as the format changes, as the cards around things change. It'll always be different.
Yeah, and it's something we're constantly conscious of when we're playtesting, right? If maybe someone's taking a turn and it feels like it's taking too long to resolve the game actions that are required, maybe that's something we could look at. It's not always a power level thing. Sometimes, like you mentioned, it's just, man, this is taking a really long time to resolve. But to Antonio, I love him. I think he's very thematic as well. He gets any of his animal friends, and we were pretty careful with it, but I think he's still really cool.
I'm just glad you can't find a Pete.
And so these cards were revealed yesterday, and they're pretty unique compared to some of the other cards in the set. They're like very, very heavily kind of new space game mechanics wise.
Yeah, the synergy on Yzma, where, I mean, it's basically saying if you're running this card, you're running all the cards with it, generally. So that is very exciting. So, I mean, I assume you guys play test when you build these, and did you have some fun? I mean, obviously the flavor is a win, but I'm going to ignore the flavor. We're talking about the mechanics. How much, I mean, do you have fun with kind of things like this where you're like, oh my gosh, it's working when you build in something like this? It seems very specific, but obviously works out since it made it to the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do we have a count on how many times someone yelled, wrong lever?
Too many times for us to keep track of. It wouldn't have lasted very long. Because yeah, making the whole package that goes together for the whole wrong lever package for Yzma and her lever cards was really fun, and it was also a lot of trial and error, because with cases like that, it's like all cards are a bit dependent on what cards are around them, but in those cases it's very, very obvious that they're very dependent on just those other few cards. So getting all of them just right so that they play together correctly is definitely a big part of that process, and takes a lot of work to really get it right. But once you get it going, it can make for some really fun stuff.
Now, one thing,
yeah, when you're making cards for such an iconic, scene that everyone loves, you really have to make sure that they feel so good to resolve together. Yeah.
Now, I personally was hoping there'd be like some. I was like, oh, what if you roll a dice? And people who played other TCG said, no, you never want to roll a dice for gambling. So Share kind of goes into that. A lot of this game is you choose, okay? Don't you dare roll a dice to decide. What is kind of the thought process of why people are so violently against when I said roll a dice versus you pick, it's in your hands? Or is that more of a philosophical question?
I mean, it's definitely philosophical. Some people don't care for the die roll. It's kind of, I think, a personal preference from each person. So I do it. I personally will roll a die if I'm in a organized play match, because it prevents me from paying attention to where their cards are or trying to watch them and then having people like, I don't want someone putting their cards underneath the table to mix them up, because that looks worse for them. And it just, there's different feelings that you're gonna encounter with different players.
Makes sense. And then our go-go, we can definitely see that Emerald Sapphire synergy with shifting is really coming into play. Like, it started a little bit where I'm like, I think I get it. And now this set, I'm like, okay, it's happening. It's full tilt here. So have you guys had fun building decks around this? I mean, we already saw the collar one that has some fun synergy here. But now is the big hero synergy where you guys are actually able to build decks where this is really firing off in ways that we really couldn't do as easily in set 7.
Yeah, the Emerald Sapphire deck is definitely my favorite of the Duel Links. Shifting just feels so satisfying to do, and it's so cool. But this Go-Go has been a really great, awesome card. It's the first card I think we've made that has the same cost as her shift cost, which is really interesting. And, you know, if you play her just on 4 by herself, she's great, 3/3/2 evasive, good stats. And then you always have that surprise factor of, oh, do they have another Go-Go in their hand? Are they going to be able to use that ability to let it go one of my characters, or let it go one of their characters? Maybe they want the extra ink. This theme has been absolutely one of my favorites, and I hope people like it.
You did bring up the cost, and I think that was a question I saw. People were like, well, that's never been the case, or the shift cost is the same. So can you explain a bit more about why it is the same on this card?
One of the advantages that we have using shift is tying mechanics to shift and kind of adjusting that cost to based off of the effects. So in this case, you have the base version that costs 4, but if you can shift, you get an added effect that's really powerful, but you lose a card in play, so you lose a little bit of tempo. It's just one of the things that we have access to. Who knows? Maybe eventually we'll do cards with shift costs higher than the base cost.
Dun, dun, dun.
You never know.
So was Go-Go ever tested with anything lower than the same cost shift? Was it too good? Was it just too good to be like a 2 shifter?
You know, I can't remember for sure which numbers we tried that Go-Go at. Maybe we did at one point, but I think one of the biggest things is just that it allowed us to put more power into her ability if we changed the number on it. So, you know, it might have even been that we decided to make her ability cooler by opening that number. So.
I know I'm going to shift a Go-Go onto a Go-Go, and then my Go-Go is going to sing Mother Knows Best on herself, and I'm going to use that as a recurable engine to just keep inking all of my opponent's fun stuff.
Go-Go, no!
You could also get lucky and maybe use Go-Go on herself, and then Mufasa randomly get 2 of them back.
Yeah. Mufasa! Whenever he comes out, I'm like, dang it, I forgot people play that, because it's like so late in the game. I'm tired, and then he comes down, I'm like, oh, he's here.
You can also bibbity bobbity boo.
No, you're right. Oh, I gotta get ready. I gotta get mentally ready for the wait. What? You know it's good when someone plays a card and you go, "Can I see that? What are you doing over there?" And I feel like we were gonna have a few of those interactions where I'm like, I need to read that real quick. So please hand that to me.
So, moving on. We're gonna talk a little bit about Illuminator's Quest before we get to the card reveals. So, not too much, but just what kind of was the difference for you guys with this compared to Deep Trouble?
I'll say that one of our primary goals with this Illuminator's Quest was to add some more depth to the goal of the game. In Deep Trouble, we had the challenge versus Ursula, and in Jafar's Heist, we wanted to make sure that it didn't just feel the same. So we knew we had the crown. We knew that the heroes needed to get the crown, and so we built that aspect into the base of the game.
Yeah, and trying to get a big feeling of what the story was a really big part, I think, in our design here too. The story of this Illuminator's quest is that we are breaking into Jafar's palace and we're trying to steal that crown out from him because that'll defeat his power and make him weaker. So, trying to get that across in the gameplay was one of our biggest focuses, I would say too.
And I see obstacle, the word that sent shivers down spines this week when we're like, everybody, like there's people who must check the app, like Detective Mickey every day, but it's there. So can you guys share a little bit more about this new exciting location?
Yeah, absolutely. So, in the Illuminator's quest for Palace Heist, one of the big major game mechanics will actually be trying to steal the crown from Jafar. He'll have that crown and it'll be giving him special powers as long as he has it. So you are actively trying to take it from him all throughout the game. He might be able to take it back from you as well. And so it's kind of a back and forth as each side is kind of fighting over that crown, and it's going to switch sides multiple times through the game. So in order to make that a bit more interesting, the obstacle locations are here as a way of Jafar blocking you from getting to his crown. While he has his obstacles out, you won't be able to get to the crown. You'll have to get through those first, and then you can make your way into the palace and actually get the crown from him. So as long as he has one of those obstacles up, he's protecting the crown from your characters. And then he'll also have characters of his own, like this Iago, that'll let him take the crown back from you, even if you manage to get a hold of it.
Dang it. So it's like a keep away situation.
That makes so much more sense. Like, it makes so much more sense. I was thinking obstacles like, I'm gonna put this thing in the way so you can't get to my location to protect my location. But no, it just turns out that the location was the obstacle and it's preventing you from getting to the crown.
Yeah, and having Iago, he's stealing it back. That doesn't seem fair. Whenever he quit, don't do that, Iago. But yeah, so it's like we got keep away, we got objects. So it definitely is like a plus version of Ursula, where Ursula's pretty linear. It's just keep playing cards. But here I'm like, oh, I think I might be annoyed. And there's no other player. The player is like, the deck, and so I can't be mad at anybody but like the box. But I can't be mad at the box because that box is really nice. So shout out there.
So we're planning on kind of doing an unboxing and maybe even playing a little bit of Illuminator's Quest Palace Heist on Weekly Lorecast this week. So if you're not already following on twitch.tv/DisneyLorcana, make sure to check that out. And yeah, we'll kind of leave it at this for now because we don't want to spoil too much. And also, if you tune in when we unbox Palace Heist and you don't want to see spoilers, then don't watch. I don't like telling people don't watch something or don't join something, but this would be important if you don't want to be spoiled.
I get watch or don't, but if you want to, do.
So
I want to so bad, but I want RMB and I to do it. So we're doing the Palace Heist.
Just watch like
I'm
this.
conflicted.
Like watch like a little bit.
We're at the point where we have a dump truck of spoilers.
Man, what a fun. I thought you guys were making, because this morning R&B did say, I want to ask about dump truck. And I said, I need to take a moment here. And it's real. And, I consider myself a Disney adult, but every once in a while I'm like, uh-oh, they're going to take my Disney adult card because who is dump truck? But it's Carnage's second mate, obviously. But anyway, to the reveals.
So we're going to go in rarity order on these. We're going to go all the way from common to legendary. Or legendary?
Legendary.
Legendary. Yep.
Toby Turtle. All right. Don't look at the art and the flavor. Look at the mechanics here.
I can't help it.
I know, Toby. Anyway, but here we go. All right. So we got Mr. Snoop's betrayed partner. 3/3 inkable. During your turn when this character is banished, you may draw a card. As a limited lover, draw a card. It's going in immediately. So, sometimes people overlook it, but I remember us limited folks. And then Toby Turtle, R&B, what's that one looking like
Toby
here?
Turtle, weary friend. So 2-cost inkable 04. While this character is exerted, he gains resist 1. So this is like Toby just wants to gain that lore every single turn and just put this like immovable object in front of your opponents that says, "Hey, you can spin your wheels trying to get through his shell, but it's real hard. You might have some troubles."
Yeah, ignore him at your own peril, but also deal with him at your own peril too, which is very fun. I love characters like that. Diablo's another one, the one cost 0/1 where people are like, I'll ignore him, and then you do, and you're like, I got 5 lore off of that little turtle over there. So yeah, these are very exciting from a dev perspective. What do you guys?
Well, it also might be important that Toby's a character that sticks around a lot, who's also an ally, and which might be important for some of those ally reference cards in the Sapphire Steel theme. So.
Yes, and that is like, it's really emerging. Like last set I went through, I was like, there's 60 allies. I was doing my little spreadsheets, and I was like, wait a minute, you guys are cooking something here, and it's exciting to see that the recipe is really, really becoming apparent.
Yep, and then Mr. Snoops being part of that Ruby Amethyst villain theme, you know, you don't really feel bad if the 2 damage you're putting on that a lot of those cards says banishes Mr. Snoops, because, you know, you'll get the card right out of it.
Love it. Another one where I'm like, okay, who are you? But does anyone want the honor of reading this one? Because I'm happy to read all day.
Take it away.
All right, we got Sir Pellinor, who's a season knight, 3-cost inkable, 1/4, quest for 1, and has Code of Honor. Whenever this character quests, your other characters gain support this turn. Together, lads, we prevail. So that's quite fun. Support is something that I think people undervalue, but it can snowball and make it where, you know, maybe we don't have a crab on hand. But we got Sir Pellinor, and we're gonna work together on this.
Yeah, this seems like a little bit of an upgrade for like Alice, the growing girl, how she gave all of your other characters support. The downside is that she was uninkable in the 3-cost slot. So Sir Pellinor coming in as a 3-cost inkable, giving your other characters support for until the end of the turn. Like this is
Arthur
can allow you to get through.
Yeah,
this can allow you to get through some big chonkers like Arthur.
Or Arthur, you get in here and then you give support to somebody who's like, and now you can take my 6 and go wherever you need to go.
Yeah, support is also a very strong keyword for limited and those sort of events. And being able to give your entire characters support comes up quite a lot. So I'll be picking him in my sealed pool.
I know. I was like, Rochelle, can I ask only about limited? And they're like, no, but I'll still sneak them in there. But either way, very, very exciting. Oh, Lewis. All right, R&B, you got this one?
Okay.
Or no, it sounds you got excited. Never mind. I'm not taking this away from somebody that's excited about Lewis.
Sorry. Princess and the Frog is one of my favorite movies, and I'm so happy we finally have Lewis in the game. He is very endearing.
And he's a sensitive soul. I like how you're like, he's very endearing. Some might call him Lewis Endearing Alligator. A 3-cost inkable 4/3, and he's got sensitive soul. He comes in exerted, but friendlier than he looks. When you play this character, chosen opposing character gains reckless during their next turn. They can't quest a boss challenge. So that is quite fun. It is fun that it is a fun new ability, because I always consider Emerald, I call it the whoopee cushion color because it's a lot of hijinks. It's a lot of like moments. And this is definitely one of those kind of cards where this comes in and it changes the math on your opponent's side. We're like, what are you making me do? So this is very fun. Do you guys have any fun stories about how you developed this one?
Oh, absolutely. This card is one of my favorites in the set, actually, just an uncommon. And one of the key things is I really like when you play this character, give something reckless. It's an interesting way to make your opponent have to make different decisions and go, oh, maybe I'm not just going to be able to quest with this Daisy all the time. Now I have to think where I want to have her challenge, or maybe have something else challenge to keep the Daisy around. And cards like Lyle Tiberius Rourke, they're great. But, there's not always the time where you have something they can challenge. So maybe their reckless character just doesn't quest and stays there. But Lewis, because he enters exerted, makes it so they always have a character that they can challenge. And with 4 strength, he's going to probably take care of whatever challenges it into him. And then I also love his synergy with the card that we revealed earlier, the Jeweled Collar. where if you play Jeweled Collar on turn 2 and then Lewis on turn 3, they're going to have to challenge and give you a card for Jeweled Collar, you know?
Yeah, you're making choices, and I think the best decks is you make your opponent make choices over and over again, and be like, I hope you make the right one. Just kidding, they're all bad ones. And this one, it's very, very exciting to see that in play.
I love that he looks so inviting. Like, if you look at the actual art, he's like, "Come on, I want to give you a hug, but really, we're fisticuffs. We're fighting here.
He's endearing.
You have reckless. You need to challenge into me, and like, sorry, but with a 4/3 stat line, like, we're probably both going down." But he looks so happy. He's like, just give me a hug.
Oh no, Hades. I have a feeling this guy, he's on the up and up. This is my current theory. We can go on about it, but we got one more 4 cost. Inkable. Everybody's got a weakness. Action. Move 1 damage counter from each damage character you have in play to choosing opposing character. Draw a card for each damage counter moved this way, which, ouch, against some sort of some of those damage matters decks. We've been seeing lots of queens coming in and dispersing damage, and Hades is like, I have a plan, and it's pretty messy here. So this is very fun.
Yeah, this type of card though, like, directly says, do you really want to play that Tinkerbell right now?
Yeah.
Because if you do, she may be sealing her own fate, and I love that. I do like that it is balanced. It's an action. It's not a song. In the song spot, this probably would have been a little bit too strong. Just the ability to say, yeah, let me take all this, spread out damage, and we're just gonna get rid of that little guy. So I think that's great balancing. I'm scared as a steel main. Like, I'm terrified now. I don't know if I want to play my Tinkerbell. Unless like I can pair my Tinkerbell with Grab Your Swords immediately, I might just play a Kronk instead.
I've really enjoyed the ability where sometimes we talk about like each set and like, is there removal in this set? Because I mean, as a person that plays limited, and as a person that likes removal, sometimes it's like, well, there's no removal. But I think cards like this are fun because it forces you to be creative with how you do removal, so to speak, where this card doesn't say Dragonfire, but it kind of allows you some creativity on responding to your opponent, and possibly building your deck in a way where you might not have the traditional removal, but you crafted it. And is that kind of your intention on some of these moving damage cards, is that it allows the player to get creative with how they do these techniques?
Yeah, definitely. When you have the gameplay experiences where you have to kind of create the solution, it can definitely feel a lot more rewarding, Just being able to play a card and take out an opponent's character is always good, and you need an amount of that type of stuff for sure. But when you can pull off a, like, oh, if I do this first and then that, I can not only take out their character, but I can do this as well. For instance, like healing your character with the moving damage and like drawing cards with this one. It just gives you that really satisfying feeling. And so cards like this that can really let you do that on a grand scale, it's like you have to put a lot of thought into how you use it, but that means that you're going to spend more time thinking about how you build your deck. And that's just, another fun part of the experience of trading card games, I think. So.
Yeah, fully agree. Cards like this and the Go-Go from Azurite Sea really changed how people think of their challenges, right? Sometimes with Go-Go, you're like, okay, maybe I don't want to take this challenge. It's good for me because it leaves a lot of damage on my character for their Go-Go. Everybody's got a weakness is kind of the same thing, but inverse. It really doesn't want you to leave up damage on my characters because, everybody's got a weakness is going to come in. Maybe move all the damage to one of yours and then draw a bunch of cards.
Oof.
I've been trying to make cards like this and the Go-Go from the previous set. It creates moments of strategy that you learn as you progress. So the more experienced player will go, oh, I can't let my character with a lot of damage just stay on the board because they may be playing Go-Go, and I need to be aware of that. And so that's kind of a fun learning moment for a lot of players.
I've been trying to make the Ruby Lyle Tiberius Rourke playable since it was released because I love that character and I love that card. It's such a cool card, and like this, the brain is working, and now it's making sense because I was getting to the point where I was like, all right, I need to start like figuring out ways to like move damage off of it so I can keep it around longer, so it can keep doing its effect every turn over and over and over again, and now it makes sense. It all makes sense.
It's all coming together.
So we've gone through common, uncommon, and rare. We're gonna move to super.
Okay, hold on.
Down in New Orleans.
It's a sapphire card.
Yeah, you got this. Tell the people what you see here.
So six costs, uninkable. It is a song. Notably, it is a song. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck. You may reveal a character, item, or location card with cost 6 or less and play it for free. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Okay, so
Processing.
All right, Naveen ukulele player. I have been wanting Naveen to have a 6-cost song that just makes it crazy good, and I think this might be it. This could potentially be it. I could see a world where I play Naveen, get to play a down in New Orleans with my Naveen for free, and then also just get to play like a McDuck Manor because, real estate. Why not?
Why not? You've always got to put a McDuck Manor as a treat. But I do love that we can tell that you guys have looked and said, Amber Sapphire, I don't see you playing it. A few courageous people out there believe in the Grandpappy tribal deck that hasn't come to fruition yet, but will one day. But this card makes me believe that you guys are seeing some of that magic that could happen. But obviously Sapphire pairs well with nearly every color. So what kind of other insights you have on this card and how you kind of envisioned it being used in decks?
Well, I do want to say I'm very happy you pointed out that Naveen can sing this. That was something we definitely wanted to make sure. And there's also the, I think, Tiana in this set that has Singer 6 as well. A lot of these little things like that, we do take notice, right? We really want people who are fans of, say, The Princess and the Frog to be like, oh, I can build a deck around this, and they both work. That's great. It's just perfect. This card, though, is super fun. It goes in so many decks. It's so cool, and I'm really excited to see what 6-cost cards people play with it.
Yeah, I love seeing that there's cards that, for a while we had that Cinderella Melody Weaver that could sing for 9 or like 9 in this economy, but now there's a few songs that are 9. So yeah, and here's another one where you're like, Naveen 6, and Naveen singing the song. You don't get points for style, but I do think you do a little bit. Like, you get internal points, and that's what matters.
So we have 2 legendary cards to wrap up these card reveals. We're gonna go with the first one.
All right, I'm ready. I'm so ready.
I just already
it's
excited.
A Tinkerbell.
It's a Tinkerbell.
I'm already excited. It's a Tinkerbell.
Amazing.
Okay.
Yeah,
2 costs.
Yeah.
Inkable. Ruby, 1/1. Storyborn Ally Fairy, evasive. Love that tagline. Whenever you play a character with 5 strength or more, you may exert them to gain 2 lore. Okay, so we're just trying to play some thickums and just gain a bunch of free lore.
Yeah.
I could get behind that.
And set up some traps to say, hey, I got some exerted stuff over here. You can challenge. They're only 5 strength.
Yeah, no big deal. You can take that, right?
Just go over there. Not a problem. So this is very fun, and I hope one day we know whose hair she's pulling, but that's a future day for other devs here. But yeah, this is very fun, and I'm assuming you guys. Is there a favorite color pairing? I like it. I'm like, can you give me some hints on what deck to put this in? But what have been some of your favorite combos that you pulled off with this card, if you're allowed to say?
Sure. I'm a big fan of this card with weight set, the sort of Ruby Steel, big, like R&B mentioned, just big chunky characters. Just playing a sort of different game where you have these big strength characters, maybe, smaller wills sometimes. And it's just really fun to, maybe play into a location deck and be like, well, I have, 3 characters with 5 strength, so you could play Queen's Castle. I'll figure it out.
That's me going, ooh.
So you said Ruby Steel. So the first thing that I came to my mind was Gustav, but Gustav comes into play exerted. How would that interaction work? Gustav.
Well, I guess you can't exert who is exerted. What is exerted may not exert.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, you would not be able to gain lore for that.
Gustav.
I want to shift Tinkerbell in Ruby Steel so bad.
That's true.
With a really good Tinkerbell.
Another shift. Wow.
Yes.
Shifting on top of a legendary
And
is
it triggers
truly
weight set.
diabolical work. Like
It triggers
just
the weight set too, which is the crazy part.
burying in a legendary under a super rare. But I'd do it because Giant Bell Tinker Fairy. Either way, best card in the game. But this is very cute too.
Yeah.
So we have one last card reveal.
Oh, it's the steel.
You know, we kind of talked about last week with the narrative main stage that there's a story playing out with the Riot characters, and there's a princess who seems to not be on board with Jafar's reign.
Namari, the single-minded rival, which shows she is a little single. She's focused. And we got 5-cost inkable. Love the art popping out. But either way, 0/5, Storyborn, Villain, Princess, Villain. And then Strategic Edge. When you play this character and at the start of your turn, you may draw a card and choose and discard a card. And this character has Extreme Focus, where this character gets +1 strength for each card in your discard. And she quests for 2. So that could be like infinite. I mean, not infinite, up to 60. Well, it's 59. But still, that's very exciting. We haven't seen that mechanic before.
5.
Yeah, at least 5. That's a good point. But yeah, that is a mechanic we have not seen in this game yet, right? Am I dreaming?
Yeah, her strength can just keep going up. If you're willing to play more cards in your deck too, you can just keep adding more cards into your deck, and her strength could be even higher if you wanted.
Legally, I'm not allowed to play more than 60, or my husband goes, it's just not allowed. You can't do it. But yeah, something happened. But either way, I mean, R&B, you seem speechless. Is it your processing here?
I mean, like, so we're breaking the mold of everything we thought we knew about Disney Lorcana in Reign of Jafar, and I'm here for it. Like, we're seeing things that like we just have never seen before. We're seeing, you know, really cool discard pile synergies. We're seeing, you know, my strength is predicated on this other thing in the game. Like, this is the type of design that gets me out of bed in the morning, because this is the type of stuff that like I'm excited for. Like, these are, man, this is such a cool card. It's not even close to funny. And I'm already like processing some of the synergies. Like, we were talking about, you know, running the 1-drop Simba and the 1-drop Mulan.
Yeah.
Like, those are cards that are just like, I'm so ready to get in the lab and start cooking.
Yeah, you filter your hand, and while you filter your hand, you're feeding Namari. It's just all of it together. You guys seem excited too. So was this one that you guys were excited to finally get to show the world?
Absolutely. This card, I think the card selection and the strength is exactly what you said. It's just so much fun being able to, like, every time you're playing a card that lets you filter and card select, you get to think in your head, like, and this is just going to make Namari stronger when she comes out. That's just a really cool feeling throughout, like, the entire game. So this card feels cool even when she's not on the board.
Yeah, you're just like, I'm investing. I'm not discarding. I'm investing in my future.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of comments in chat as well about some of the cool interactions. Namari with Chernobog is very cool. You're able to cycle your discard much faster. You know, play Lilo in that sort of deck. You know, put your Lilo just in the discard. Maybe play that Stitch as well. And then also the Maximus from, I believe, Shimmering Skies, that wants a really high-strength character in play. I think it checks for 10 strength.
Yeah, you get 3 lore.
Snaggly Duckling too.
Yeah, 3 lore for if the Maximus has a big buffy guy. That's not what it says. 3 lore, big buffy guy, you get 3 lore. But yeah, that one's hard to pull off. But maybe not with Namari.
Yeah, Namari could trigger Maximus just gaining you 5 lore.
Oh yeah, 5 lore. That's
so easily. Yeah, it's like 2 lore if it's 5 or more, and then if it's 10 or more, it's 5 lore.
That's some game changing.
Like,
that's some game changing math there.
Yeah, that's such absurd amount of lore generation so quickly. And all I have to do is just like whole new world my opponent a couple times. Deal.
Yeah, why not? As a treat.
I'm already doing that. I'm already doing that anyways. Like.
And hey,
she sings a whole new world too on top of it.
You could potentially add in a certain Tinkerbell evasive character that might have just recently gotten shown off too, and maybe Namari will have 5 strength when you play her. Who knows?
And I'm loving that I mean, I know that this is kind of, we're almost at times, but either way, I do think it's kind of interesting seeing that there's kind of fringe decks that are always on the outside, but we're like, it's always a bridesmaid, never a bride. But I think some of these card reveals have shown that some of those fringe decks, your Amber Sapphires, your Ruby Steels, they might They might be coming up and saying, "Hey guys, I got some good stuff," which is very exciting as a player.
It's almost like the first like few sets that we got of Disney Lorcana, like sets 1 through 4, 5-ish, really kind of like juiced some specific color pairings, you know, like ruby amethyst, amber steel, and it feels like we're finally moving into like the second phase of Disney Lorcana's life cycle, where we're starting to see some other color pairings start to get some love that may kind of step into the limelight, where, you know, your amber steels and your ruby amethysts and your ruby sapphires have kind of been hogging all the light for a little while. And I'm ready. I'm ready for some bleen. As much as it pains me to say that, to kind of, you know, be at the top of the food chain, I'm ready for the ruby steel to be up there. I'm ready for puppies. I want somebody to put together a puppy list that just absolutely cooks me with puppies. Like
Cook me with puppies.
I'm so ready for Reign of Jafar.
Puppy kisses. I mean, I'll say for you three, I mean, are there any decks that you're hoping? Because I imagine, like, you watch us, it's like children learning how to walk, and you're like, I remember when I was there. So are there any decks that you are I mean, I don't want you to tell us what to do, but I mean, are there decks that you've been more excited about as you've play tested with this set specifically, that you think players are going to have a lot of fun getting a chance to play once this set is out in stores? That's putting you on the spot.
Honestly, for me, I'm the most excited when I see the crazy cool new stuff that people come up with themselves.
Yeah.
As I mentioned earlier, like I was a really big fan of the like Churna Dogs, the Amber and Emeralds, like swarm the characters kind of deck, and I was playing that a lot when we were doing playtesting of this set. But I've seen innovations on it from people in the community that are stuff that I never thought of myself, and it's really cool to see people take these ideas. That's like, oh yeah, I definitely thought of doing a deck like that, but seeing the new cool ways that people put spins on it, that's always fun. I love seeing that type of stuff.
Yeah, definitely piggybacking off of Levi here. I always feel when we're making these cards that I just want to give people the tools to sort of brew their own idea, right? Where, you know, maybe like I really love Jules Collar. I think that card's great. But I'm sure there will be innovations that not even I thought of, and I can't wait to see those sort of things.
Well, I'm gonna be doing some Jules Collar. Don't you worry, Etienne. I'm gonna be doing it.
I know, and I'm gonna be watching people and saying like, what are you doing over there? Because, oh my gosh, I think it's very fun. And it's so fun because everybody iterates too, right? Like you see a deck and then you're like, but what if? Go with me here. And I think that's going to be very, very fun. And especially as we try to take Jafar down too, which is, so that is coming up. Is that, do you say, Rochelle, that's going to be tomorrow? Is it you and Greg? Who's playing? I'm so excited about that part.
It's on Thursday, and you'll have to tune in.
Oh yeah, tomorrow's not Thursday. I'm being optimistic. And tomorrow's Wednesday. Either way, 2 days from now.
What about Steve? Steve, what are you playing when Reign of Jafar comes out?
I really like the Big Hero 6 deck. It's one of my favorites to play. I really like having gigantic characters, so that works really well. And I just enjoy the puppies deck a lot. I'm a big fan of the Mufasa from Shimmering Skies, so ways to do that are always amusing. So those are probably my primaries. I'll have a whole bunch of decks that I'll build out.
How many of your Tifos have donned the Baymax suit? That's the real question.
And what is your ink deck that we can find all the decks that you build? Is that public?
I don't think you'll find them there.
Ah, man, dang it. But it's very, very exciting. It's so exciting to see you guys get to show off the future, which the future is what? We're 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out. It's going to be May 31st and then June 6th, right? Those are the 2 big days. Did I memorize it?
Available at hobby stores and Disney parks on May 30th.
Dang it. It's close.
And everywhere on June 6th.
Oh, I'm so excited.
You can pre-order right now with your local game stores. There's pre-orders available on Amazon. And with that, we are at the end of this game dev main stage. So from the dev team, really happy that you guys could join us and talk about, you know, a lot of these cards that you've designed these mechanics for. Is there anything that you guys want to add before we wrap up?
Just a great big thank you from me and everybody to our community. Again, you guys are amazing and love getting to be here and chat with you all and see all of the conversation happening on the side. I've been trying to keep up with a lot of it, so I apologize if I've seemed a little distracted as I'm watching both sides.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see what people do with the set. Very happy that everyone's continuing to enjoy the things that we make. That makes me really happy, and I'm very excited for everyone to get a chance to try out the new Illuminators Quest. Very happy.
Yeah,
Yeah, can't wait to see all the cool decks you guys build.
this has been a huge honor. So thank you so much for inviting me and R&B. This is like, as you can see, we are a little bit nerdy about this, but you know, excited to be here, and thank you.
It's okay. Where can people find you?
Well, you can find me on Lorekeeper's Inn, just like all about there. If you find one, just follow the breadcrumbs backwards. But mostly I'm on YouTube. I make content about all sorts of fun stuff. I'm going to make content about this because I'm so excited. And yeah, can't wait. And R&B, what about you?
Yeah, you can find me basically everywhere. If you say the word bald, there's a good chance that I'll appear. You can find me on Instagram at r_m_bald. You can find me on Twitter. I'm pretty active on Twitter as well at r_m_bx. You can also find me on YouTube. We do have a new series that is coming out soon where we're going to be cooking some new decks using Reign of Jafar that we're super, super excited about. Throw up the bald signal. I'll be there.
Thanks,
Beautiful.
everyone. Make sure that you guys tune in. We started last week weekly Lorecast on Thursdays on twitch.tv/DisneyLorcana. So we're just gonna try to keep up more of this, talking with all of you, and then excited to do more of these when we get closer to the next set. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.